Bobby Hebert is the original, the founding father of the Houdat Nation. Miller Lite is the original, the founding father of light beer. Here's Bobby's Rant, brought to you by Miller Lite. It's Miller time.
Bobby, a lot to get into about this one. I don't even know where you want to start, so feel free to just take it and run.
Well, it's amazing we even had a chance considering we were down 17-0 at half. I mean, I know it's 4 quarters. I'd say we played good the third quarter, but again, it is 4 quarters. And the Eagles aren't a very good team, but they look pretty good at times against us. You can't just show up. The NFL is so good that you have to be ready to play. I mean, but I was really discouraged, and we had talked about this, and it didn't surprise me, that Miles Sanders, their running back, we talked about this in the pregame. Are they going to give him more rushing attempts? Well, he had 14 rushing attempts. We said you need to give him the ball 20 times. He had 14 rushing attempts for 115 yards, a couple of touchdowns. He averaged 8.2 yards a carry. Well, just in the first half, he had 105 yards rushing, and the whole Saints offense only had 98 yards total. You look at Jalen Hurts' total offense. He had 204 yards at halftime. This is not the end of the game. This is at halftime. Did Jalen Hurts look uncomfortable? It looked like the Saints defense looked like a Big 12 defense. I mean, we don't pressure the quarterback. We get 0 sacks when all said and done. No, they were the ones that were getting after us. They had 5 sacks. We had 0. I thought you'd have flipped that script, but that was not the case. Listen, Taysom at times, he just holds the ball too long. The ball has to come out, but I'm going to get on Taysom later. Looking at where the Saints are at, the bottom line, 9-game winning streak is over. We were trying to get to 10 games. Philadelphia, they trying to compete in the NFC least, which is the NFC East. They snapped their 4-game losing streak. Sean Payton has had overall the Eagles number, their franchise. He was 7-2. Well, now he is overall 7-3. 7 needed to be on the plus side in the turnover margin, where we were -1 for the game. It really felt like more like a -2 type of game as far as, the turnover margin when all said and done. Now, our defense was pretty stout. I look on third down. They were only 4-13, which is outstanding, 31%, but they were that good on first and second down. I did not think they would outgain us, but they did. If we have the number 1 defense against the Eagles, you're not supposed to give up 413 yards. No, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing to say the least. Listen, even with Taysom Hill, I guess when you're playing catch-up, you have to throw that much. Well, why are we throwing the ball 38 times? But again, we were down 17-0, so you have to attempt to throw the football, that many times. 38. We only had 20 rushing attempts, but we averaged right under 5 yards a carry, 4.8. It's just because we dug ourselves a hole, and by the time we got out of it, it was almost too late. Penalties is not really a factor. Always say if you get 9 penalties or more, we were right on the cusp of that. We had 8 and nowhere near 100 yards, 52 yards. Time of possession, it was pretty much even Steven. Now, it was kind of embarrassing, and it just seems like, Bob, when you let it go, you let it go. Consecutive games without allowing a 100-yard rusher in the regular season, postseason. The Saints had their record. I was tooting that horn in the pregame. From 2017 to the present, we had 55 games. You look at the doomsday defense with Dallas back in the early 70s. They did it 51 games. You look at the Ravens defense. We all talk about them from 98 to 2001, but the 2000 Ravens defense kind of compared to the Bears defense of 1985. But we did not only give up 1 rusher over 100 yards. We gave up 2 rushers. So that it's embarrassing. To tell you the truth, I guarantee you, Dennis Allen and defensive staff, they are embarrassed. We got whipped? Bottom line, can't sugarcoat it. And we said this, if we win, that's going to be the difference in the game. We got whipped in the trenches. Both our offensive and defensive line, it was very humbling. And then even at the end, we were trying to play catch-up. I don't know what Sean, Max, Coach Payton his play calling, why we're not going on the ball and maybe running a 2-minute offense. We were going in the huddle and acting like we were only down 1 score. No, we were down 2 scores, so that was puzzling to me. Listen, I think with Drew Brees might have threw for 400 or 500 yards against this Eagles secondary because the ball's going to come out. Even on that 4th down, that strip sack fumble, look on you all taped this probably, Who Dat Nation, on your TV. Look at the backside. If Taysom, you don't have the shot play, come backside. Michael Thomas is wide open, about a 15-yard gain. It's just a simple under route that you throw it, I don't know, like 8 yards, but he runs about 15 or 20. That's the difference right there. Secondary that was depleted. This one you don't want to have Drew Brees to really exploit that, and I think he would have. Now, there was one play I'm looking at the beginning of the game also. The Eagles are running a power play with the quarterback. The same thing we've seen in practice with Taysom Hill. They ran it with Jalen Hurts, and they had unbelievable success. Act like the Saints defense, act like we never saw that play. What? You see it in practice all the time, and so that was very discouraging. The bottom line is I think we lost the game in the trenches, and you're -1 in the turnover margin, and however you want to sugarcoat it, it was nothing to write home about. Like Taysom Hill, you throwing a screen pass. You can't throw a bullet. Sean, even you have to you let the rush come to you, and you can't freak out and drill it. You just got to lob it in there, just soft touch to Duke Riley. You know, had a good game. John Curtis and New Orleans' own Duke Riley with the Eagles. He ends up having an interception pass defended. He was 3rd in tackles with 6. So good for that LSU Tiger, Duke Riley. But listen, Cam Jordan, Trey Henderson, non-factor. Malcolm Jenkins, up and down. I would say some good, but also some bad. You know, it's never good when Marcus Williams is leading the team in tackles. Isn't Marcus Williams is your deep free safety? And he's leading the team in tackles. So that was not good. Again, 0 sacks. They had 5 sacks. Look, offensive line, I thought it was embarrassing. I don't think we've ever played this bad in a while, giving up 5 sacks. Now, a lot of it maybe with Drew, that have been 1 or 2 sacks and not 5, because Holly's going to get rid of the ball. But I look at Sweat. He's a defensive end from Florida State. And then Hargrave, I want to say he's from a D tackle from South Carolina State, if I'm right. But they have like 4 sacks between them. But then more importantly, they also have 5 quarterback hurries and 3 tackles for loss. Well, I'm like, well, who in the hell is blocking them? I mean, that's where I'm telling you. We said this before the game. That's where it's going to be won and lost to fans. We follow the ball, and it's very humbling. The Eagles kicked out behind in the trenches on the offensive defensive line.
Bobby, there's a general sentiment here on the Facebook comments on our live stream over at the WWL Facebook page. I'm going to combine some of these and kind of make it into one general 2-part question, which is there's a lot of people dogging Taysom Hill right now after his performance in the first half and the fact that he missed some receivers today. There's also some people asking about Drew Brees' injuries. So, do you think the Saints, after today's game, go back to Drew Brees against Kansas City?
In the playoffs? Hell no. He's not healed.
Let me finish the question.
Kansas City.
This coming Sunday against Kansas City.
No.
Will Drew Brees be in the game? And could he be in the game?
No.
At this time frame?
No, I looked at. I've had broken ribs before. Now, what was Drew have? Double-digit broken ribs? 11. Like what? I've had 3, and I know like 4. You broke something. It's like 4 to 6 weeks. It's not getting miraculously healed. Drew Brees is not Superman, even though he plays at times like he's Superman. But we got to worry about Drew Brees to guide this team in the postseason. Now, the number 1 seed, that would be nice, not because of the fans' respect, because there's no fans. If you have people that are injured, you got that week off, you got that game off, because there's the only ones that gets a bye. But if you don't have that, you need Drew Brees ready to roll. I can tell you right now, and I said this, I talked with Mike to tell you before in the pregame, that I said this at the get-go because looking at the time frame, the earliest possible scenario would be the Vikings on Christmas Day, but not the Chiefs because that's Sunday. Then you have a short week. Then you're going to play the Vikings. And if not the Vikings, then you want to have a game. It's almost like the third preseason game before you're getting ready for the regular season. So that I can tell you right now, I'd be shocked if Drew Brees is not playing the last game at Carolina against the Panthers. Now, I would say Christmas Day, there's still a chance. Kansas City, there's no chance. I don't care what people say because you know why? Because Kansas City is not all the way healed. You can be a tough man, but you get hit. Don't you want him 100% going into the playoffs? That's why I say that.
So let me ask you this. So the other part of the question is, should Sean Payton have pulled Taysom Hill today? Does this performance prove that there is no scenario other than Taysom Hill getting hit in which we will see Jameis Winston?
I think that to go with Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill would have to have maybe this kind of performance against the Chiefs if he's not going to play Drew Brees against the Vikings. But I still think he would go with Taysom against the Chiefs. It would be like almost like a back-to-back type games because to me, Taysom did not build upon his performance as a starting quarterback. Now, I mean, can you count you played the Atlanta Falcons defense and Denver? I mean, you got to look at Denver's defense. They weren't dealing with COVID, even though it was limited, game plan. But I just look at times, Taysom's inaccuracies. God, we ended up having a touchdown on that drive. I think it was Emmanuel Sanders, wide open end zone. Come on, you have to make that throw. Even on a touchdown pass, he made it a tough play. You got to get that ball out there. No, at times, I've said it before, Taysom's a little too inaccurate. And even on the screen pass, the interception to Duke Riley, he threw that too hard to Kamara. And listen, I love Taysom Hill. I think he's a great football player. I just don't know if he's the long-term answer at quarterback. Now, he threw the ball 38 times, completed 28, but I'd rather he only threw 28 times and completed 18 and was more efficient. And then this is never good for Taysom because I think he's that kind of player. Yeah, he had 33 yards rushing. I like him to have 50 plus. But Michael Thomas has been a security blanket for him. 8 targets, 8 receptions, 84 yards. That was a good call with him, Mark. But who looked more? You could, because it could be the ebbs and flow. Who knows? The more film they get on Jalen Hurts, he might suck at the end of the season. But then Jalen Hurts, did that look like his first game ever? Now, when you look very similar type quarterbacks, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Taysom Hill. Who looked more confident? Did Jalen Hurts even feel rattled? Shame on the Saints defense. Jalen Hurts felt like, man, I'm going against the number one defense. Well, he's probably thinking, that looked like kind of when I was going against the Big 12. That didn't faze me one bit.
Well, and remember, last week when he was put in place of Carson Wentz, he rallied that team, and he almost brought them back and got a victory. So this is just a continuation of how he looked a week ago. The Saints should have known that he's pretty poised for a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, but he didn't do jack last week, Mike. Mark, he was like 5 of 12. Now, he had a couple of big plays, but he's only 5 of 12. Today, he was like 17 of 30. So he'll be that type of accurate quarterback. That's pretty good, actually. When I look, as long as it's over 50%, because he can run the ball, 17 of 30. If you look at 167 yards, but then you have to add. That's why. So to me, you add the 106 yards rushing. So right there, that's basically 270 yards. Well, you have to look at the production.
I'm not talking about his passing. I'm just talking about his poise and his command of the huddle and his ability to lead those drives down the field.
He was not intimidated one bit, where in NFL history, when you went in the mid-'80s, you went against that Bears defense, you were hoping you can get 2 first downs in a row, or even like the Ravens in 2000. If you're the number one defense, it's like, sorry, you better hold the ball bounces your way because you have no chance Well, it didn't look like today that the Saints had the #1 defense in the National Football League.